Some of the thoughts that you hear in your head every single day on repeat are not true. And not only are they not true, you are living your life as if they are. And that is shaping everything. Welcome to the Christian Life Coach Podcast. I'm Shanna, your Christian life coach. And this is where we talk about real life transformation through the renewing of your mind. If you are a Christian woman who is tired of starting over, tired of beating yourself up, tired of knowing what to do but not actually doing it, you are in the right place. Here, we focus on rooting your identity in Christ, renewing your thinking, taking radical responsibility, building boring consistency, and becoming the woman who keeps her word. This is not about hustle. It's not about shame. It's about mature self-leadership grounded in biblical truth. Welcome. I am so glad you're here for this new series that I'm starting, and it is called The Lies We Believe. And I just want to start off by saying this is going to be kind of an introductory episode. We are not we're not going to fix everything today, and probably not ever, to be honest. This is going to be an ongoing work that we will do over and over and over. This is about waking up and becoming aware. We want to start noticing, not necessarily solving. And honestly, I notice that a lot of times just the awareness, just the noticing is sometimes enough to make the change that we need to make. So one of the core problems, and oh my goodness, I see this in coaching all the time when I'm watching other people coach, when I'm coaching, and to be honest, when I'm coaching myself, which I am doing all the time, we are believing the things that we are thinking without questioning them. We are believing the thoughts that we are thinking without questioning those thoughts. And here are some examples. And I'll also say some of these are simple, seemingly harmless thoughts that we're believing. And some of them are pretty significant. So here are some examples. I don't have time. I'm behind. I don't do enough. They don't care about me. I can't afford it. And when we hear a thought like that, like any of those and so many others, and we just accept it as fact, but it's not a fact. It's literally just a sentence that is in your brain. So it's just like words being typed out on a keyboard that are floating in your head. So it's just a thought. It's a sentence in your brain. And we are just believing these thoughts without questioning them. And it's not, that doesn't come without impact. I wanted to say consequences, and sometimes it is, but it's impact. Because as we know, if you've listened to past episodes, we live in the creation cycle. Our thinking, the thoughts that we think, generate the feelings that we experience, and those feelings that we experience drive our actions. Our actions, repeated over time, create the results that we live with in our life. So if the thought is off, if at that beginning your thought is not even true, then everything downstream is originated from a lie. It's all off. So let's define a thought. What is a thought? A thought is a sentence in your mind, something that you say to yourself. Often these thoughts are on repeat in our minds. And just because you think a thought does not mean it's true. Every thought that you think is not true. Or let's say that. Not every thought that you think is true. How about that? And here's an example. So you're thinking, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. And you might feel overwhelmed. You might feel pressure. You might feel depleted. And from any of those feelings, the action that you take is procrastinating, spinning out in overwhelm, maybe listing out, thinking about all of the things that need to be done and all of the reasons that you don't have time. You might avoid getting things done by scrolling, by Netflixing. And your result is things don't get done, which means you didn't make the time and you don't have time because you're not making the time and you're not doing the things. And then you end up having more to do and less time. So telling yourself, I don't have time, feeling overwhelmed, you don't do the things that you want to be doing, and you do the things that are wasting time, and your result is you don't have time. And it's not that your circumstances, it's not what's actually happening that is the problem. It's that you're believing those thoughts, and those thoughts are having an impact in your emotions and driving your actions. So it's not the circumstance. It's not what's actually happening. It's what you're believing about that circumstance. And here is this is kind of my litmus test on thoughts. And I have an episode that's all about this. When you have a thought and you notice it, like, I don't have time, you stop, you notice, and you ask yourself, is that even true? Is that true that I don't have time to do this thing? And I mean, at that point, you can say, well, that's not even true. I actually do have time. And so you want to tell yourself the truth, right? And also, you could ask yourself, is that true? And maybe you decide, yeah, that is true. Okay. And not or, and is this true? And is it helpful? Is thinking this thought helping me to go in the direction that I want to go? Is this thought helping me to be the person that I want to be? And when you're asking yourself these questions, is it true? It's not, does it feel true? Is it actually factually true? Like, is it true or is it not? And then, is it helpful? Again, is it moving me forward in the direction that I want to go? Is it helping me go in the direction that I want to be? And some thoughts might be true, but they're not helpful. And if it's not helpful, then it's not worth rehearsing, repeating, practicing. And Most of us are in a habit of repeating the same thoughts. We repeat the same thoughts or the same collection of thoughts, and those thoughts reinforce those same emotions, and those same emotions drive the same actions, creating and reinforcing the same results. And then we wonder, why isn't anything changing? Why am I not losing weight? Why aren't my relationships improving? Why am I not getting more done? And it's not that we don't know, we're just repeating patterns that are not helpful. We're repeating thoughts that may or may not be true, but definitely are not helpful. And we stay stuck. That's where we get stuck in that pattern. So again, we're not trying to fix everything today. We're not, we aren't, and the goal is not to become positive all the time. Let's just think positive, happy thoughts all the time. That is not even the goal. Please do not hear what I am not saying. And we don't need to like replace all of our thoughts instantaneously. Here's what we want to do. We want to notice. You cannot renew your mind if you don't even pay attention to what you're thinking right now. The Bible says, take every thought captive into the obedience of Christ. We can't take thoughts captive if we don't even recognize that they're not obeying God, right? We can't take anything captive that we're not even aware of. Renewing our minds means we need to be aware. What are we thinking about now to even know that it needs to be changed and renewed? So we want to pay attention. Pay attention, notice. So here's what I want you to do this week. Notice a thought that you have on repeat. It can be about a situation in your life. It can be about you. It can be about a person in your life. It can be about life in general. What is something that you notice that you tell yourself over and over? And you might hear yourself speaking it out loud too. So notice that thought. And I say, write it down. Say it out loud and write it down. And then ask yourself, is this true? Is this actually even true? Not does it feel true? Is this the truth? And is this helpful? And I'm just going to say, if you ask yourself and it's not true, you don't even need to move on to is it helpful, right? Because if you decide it's not true, then to continue thinking that thought is just lying to yourself. And let's not do that. Let's be truth tellers, right? Truth with love. So is it true? And if you decide, yeah, I actually do believe this is true, then you ask, and is this helpful? If it's not true and helpful, then we have some renewal to do. We have some taking captive to do, right? And we don't want to rush it. Just notice it. So catch a thought that you have going on repeat and ask, is this true? And is this helpful? And I want to like reiterate it. There's nothing wrong with thinking these thoughts. Thoughts are going to come into our head. I've heard that we have upwards of 60,000 thoughts a day. And so we can't control all of the thoughts that come into our head. We're human. This is the way that God made us. God made our brains. This is how he made us. You're human. You are not broken for the thoughts that you're thinking. You've just been practicing a way of thinking that has not been helpful to you. And when you have new information, then you are responsible to that. You are responsible for what you keep believing. So this is where ownership and self-leadership comes in. And just remember, God is not the author of confusion. He's not the author of shame or condemnation. If a thought is tearing you down, keeping you stuck, telling you lies, you don't matter, you're not worth it, nobody cares, that should raise a red flag. Okay. So again, this is the intro episode. So next week, we are going to go a little bit deeper into the lies that we believe that are around our identity lies that we've been believing. I'm not likable. I don't belong. There's something wrong with me, or I'm broken. And we're going to dive into those and start pulling those apart. Just remember, you don't need to fix everything all today. You just need to start noticing, because the life that you're living right now is being shaped by the thoughts that you believe. And if you're listening to this episode, if you listen to this podcast, we're not going to leave those thoughts unexamined anymore. We're going to question them. Is that even true? And is that helpful? I have in the podcast resources for this episode, for episode 64, I'm going to have a worksheet available to you. So in the show notes, there's a link for podcast resources. You can go to that link and you opt in to the podcast resources. It'll take you to a folder, and it has any of the resources that I've created for the podcast. And in there will be an episode 64 workbook or worksheet to help you get started doing this work for real, in real time. And I look forward to exploring all that's going to come in this series. Thank you so much for being here. Remember that life coaching is life changing, one renewed thought at a time.